In the last 24 hours, we have seen the start of NBA free agency, but also the end of Kyle Lowry's Toronto Raptors career. And in the hours that followed, there was a bit of an expectation that the Raptors would have some moves up their sleeves, but nothing ended up happening. So in this video, we're going to try to uncover what exactly is the plan for the Raptors free agency. Let's get into it. What is up, NBA and Raptors fans? This is Amateur Hour Sports, the channel where you get NBA content with a focus on the Toronto Raptors at least 4 days a week. That is Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. But surprise, it is a Tuesday and we got a video because NBA free agency is heating up for every team, but not for the Raptors. But if you like what you see from today's video and you want more of myself talk about the NBA and the Raptors and videos and content just like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below to show your support to the channel. Thank you so much, guys. We just hit 5,000 subscribers, which means I have to shave my head live on stream. Twitch.tv/amateursports, where the link is in the description to celebrate. We now start our road to 6,000 subscribers. So if you enjoy the content, make sure to hit that button. But let's get down to business for today, because I'm not one to usually be reactionary when it comes to any Raptors current events, and I would really pride myself on that. I've criticized Raptors social media, Raptors media in general, and people who watch the channel sometimes, not everybody, but people who watch the channel, I find that it's a little bit reactionary. There's a lot of recency bias, especially when it comes to Toronto Raptors fans, and this is another scenario where that recency bias could come into play, because free agency has only been open for less than 24 hours at the time that this video is posted, and in the time that this has happened, the Toronto Raptors have traded Kyle Lowry to the Miami Heat in a sign and trade. We still don't know exactly what we are going to get back, but the assumption is that it is going to be Precious Achiuwa and Goran Dragic, and I'm pretty happy that we also are going to get a draft pick in there, probably a second-round pick. Not confirmed. I believe the Raptors are working out a third team to trade Goran Dragic to, which would be nice, but that is probably what's going to happen there. We also signed Gary Trent Jr. in restricted free agency, and I think this is a good contract here. I was saying, I have been saying for the last month or so, that anything $18 million or less is going to be a W for this contract. And well, it's exactly $18 million, $54 million over the next 3 years for Gary Trent Jr. I think that this makes sense. The Raptors aren't committing too long term here. This is a kind of, okay, what can you do over this 3 years? And then we will decide what to do with you after, if we want to give you the money, if somebody else wants to do that. But the Raptors want to keep their options open. They don't want to be locked into a contract for a player who, admittedly has a high ceiling, but, there is a floor that the Raptors do need to be a little bit concerned about. But other than that, that was pretty quick. That was probably within about an hour of free agency happening. Kyle Lowry is gone. Gary Trent comes back. I thought, okay, this is fine. We got a good return for Kyle Lowry. It's a sign and trade. You're not going to get a great deal, but that's a good deal. That's a good deal if it does pan out the way that we expect it to pan out. Gary Trent, that's a good contract, so I was excited. But then, as the hours ticked on and on and on, nothing was happening. Nothing was happening. We saw so many centers go off the board, and the Raptors are in desperate need of a center. I mean, I thought that we needed to address this. We figured out at the start of last season, okay, this team needs a legitimate center to start if this team wants to be successful. And Aaron Baines did not fill that void. Alex Len did not fill that void. But all of a sudden, I felt like we started playing much, much better when we bring in Khem Birch. But now the Raptors are sitting at the second day. I mean, we saw Nerlens Noel sign for the Knicks. That didn't surprise me very much. So I was like, okay, whatever. Jared Allen signed for the Cleveland Cavaliers on a $100 million contract over 5 years. Apparently, he was asking for like $120 million, but he got 100 from Cleveland. So I thought, okay, that's a good contract. I'm not like tremendously surprised that he went to Cleveland, but I'm a little bit surprised that nobody outbid Cleveland there. So I'm like, okay, all the marbles got to be on Richaun Holmes. And eventually, there were some emerging reports like, Raptors fans, keep your eyes on the Richaun Holmes situation. So I'm sitting there, I'm licking my chops, I'm rubbing my hands. But okay, are we going to land Richaun Holmes in this situation? I see Sacramento are offering him 4 years, $60 million. I'm like, wow. 4 years, $60 million. The Raptors can easily match that, easily outpay that. And then I saw more reports. Richaun Holmes wants to stay in Sacramento, but if another team offers him more, he would feel inclined to go. And then there was like, okay, Richaun Holmes' interest in Toronto. Like, wow, is this actually going to happen? And then it didn't. Richaun Holmes signed for the Sacramento Kings. 4 years, $55 million. I mean, I was talking about him like a month, 2 months ago, like I was prepared to give him 4 years, $80 million. But it is apparent that the Raptors were not in the same mindset as myself. So there went another center. So I'm like, okay, well, there's all like my good starting centers for this franchise. I guess now we're going to lean into Khem Birch. I mean, that's got to be our guy at this point, right? If we have Precious Achiuwa as a center off the bench, that's not the worst thing in the world. A nice young center to develop on the bench, that's not the worst thing in the world, right? Let's just go after Khem Birch. But then nothing was happening with the Khem Birch situation. And mind you, we've all kind of played under the assumption that Khem Birch wants to be back. He likes being in his home country in Canada. This is the best section of his career, playing in that half season with the Raptors. The assumption, I guess the assumption is something that kind of plagued this year, because we were all just like, yeah, he's going to come back. If it was a starter or whether it's going to be as a bench player, Khem Birch is going to come back. But now nothing is happening there, and now reports are just starting to kind of boil up that the Chicago Bulls are having internal discussions regarding Khem Birch. So now I'm getting a little bit worked up here because, okay, Kyle Lowry, fine. At least we got something out of it. It was his choice. He wanted to go to Miami. At least we get something out of it. And, I kind of like Precious Achiuwa. Hopefully we can flip Goran Dragic. But another thing is that now, is there a team that wants him? The Dallas Mavericks just signed Reggie Bullock, among other players. Do they have the money to take on Goran Dragic? So that becomes a situation now. But still, not a bad return. We can work with that in the future. Gary Trent signed, that was good, but then nothing has happened since then. And I'm getting a little bit restless because this is very reminiscent of what happened last season. It was kind of just a sit and hold what we have. And, we lost Serge, we lost Mark, and we didn't really get in a proper center to replace them. We thought we had it in Aaron Baines, and I thought we had it. I was very high on Baines after that season with the Phoenix Suns, and I'm sure a lot of people would have been as well. But, this season, we really needed to sort out that center position because I think that it's a big hindrance on any of the players on our current team's development to have to play in that center position. We know that OG Anunoby can play as the center. We know that Pascal Siakam can play as a center. I think that there is this kind of sneaking suspicion that Scotty Barnes can actually play as the center as well. And I think all three of them would do a fine job in that role. But I really feel like it stunts their development having to play in those positions because, these are some young players, especially Barnes and OG Anunoby, who really want to get to the next level here. OG Anunoby, I'm feeling a big jump this season. And if he wants to get to the next level, if Pascal Siakam wants to regain that All-NBA, that All-Star form, then I think they need to be in their proper positions, and playing as the center I think would really limit them in what they are going to do. But in this current situation, this current dynamic that we are having with the front office here is that we haven't gone and gotten anybody, and there's no real links that we are going to get somebody. Now, the saving grace is that we've got the trade piece in Goran Dragic, assumingly here. I mean, Lowry was a sign and trade. It was reported as a sign and trade. We are going to get something back from him, and I'm almost 100% certain that is going to be Precious Achiuwa and Goran Dragic. This third trade coming in is becoming a bit of a difficulty because, the Pelicans were interested, but then they've signed Devontae Graham. They've gotten Thomas Satoransky. They don't need Goran Dragic anymore. And now Dallas Mavericks, they've signed players. Do they need Goran Dragic? So I feel like there was something kind of cooking, but maybe that is starting to die down. And the Raptors, maybe for the second offseason in a row, kind of had all their marbles in one basket, trading Goran Dragic to the Dallas Mavericks, and it didn't work out, and now they're kind of scrambling for something else. My suspicion is that maybe Goran Dragic is heading over to the Dallas Mavericks, and we can bring back somebody like Dwight Powell to play as the center. Now, Dwight Powell, I think, would be a nice player for us. He's a little bit undersized, but that allows him some switchability, which we love. He can get on the perimeter. And Dwight Powell's actually phenomenal in the pick and roll. That is the strongest part of his game, in my opinion. Not the strongest rebounder, but he is great in the pick and roll. And he can do a good job defending the paint on defense. But still, with these guys available, I was really upset that we missed out on Holmes. The report emerging about Richaun Holmes is that the Raptors did not want to commit a long-term contract to Richaun Holmes because they're really betting on the current core that we have. And, I understand that. I can respect that. We've got Van Vliet, Siakam, Gary Trent Jr. now, Scotty Barnes, OG, Malachi Flynn. We've got those second-round picks. We're going to bet on this young core, and I like that. But I felt like this core was strong enough to go and be a playoff team next season. Go and, try to upset somebody and get to the second round, maybe even go on a run. But, this is a playoff playoff team, in my opinion, what we have here. And I think what's good for this core to develop is a season where they can be a winning team. And I felt like this team, even though it's a young core, and I get that we're not going to be like in any sort of championship contention for the next like 2-3 years at least, I still wanted to see this core get into this winning mindset and this winning dynamic where they can go out and win games. They're not going to be rested. They don't have to fear about the front office trying to tank any games. And I feel like we're kind of trending maybe towards those scary situations again. I think that this core in place should be able to go out there, express themselves, and try to make a good run in the playoffs. But in order to do that, you need to provide them with the pieces. They need to provide them with the center that we so evidently lacked last season. And signing Sam Dekker is not going to change that in any way whatsoever. Sam Dekker, the scouts have seen something, then so be it. I'm not going to get mad at the franchise for signing him when they couldn't sign other people so far. But we really need to sign a center. We really need to sign complementary pieces because we've gotten a lot of guys who really don't have that outside game on the team. We need some shooters. We need some bench scoring. And I'm wondering where it is all going to come from at this point. Now, admittedly, again, I'm rushing to this, and it's a bit more reactionary than I would like it to be because this is just my current feelings about the situation. I've followed reports all morning, and I still haven't seen anything regarding the Raptors. In fact, the only thing I'm seeing regarding anything to do with the Raptors, again, was the Sam Dekker, but also that Khem Birch might be on his way to the Chicago Bulls. So again, I'm trying to trust the front office here. I really am trying to trust the front office. But when the cloud of Masai Ujiri's expiring contract is looming over me as well, it's really starting to worry me. I really am starting to get some big concerns about every situation regarding NBA free agency. Again, I would like to put my faith in the front office, but last season was the one where I was like, hey, they messed up. They need to correct it this season. And so far, what I'm seeing is a lack of an ability to correct that. So as we progress, maybe things will change. Again, this is very early in free agency, but with all these names going off the board, I can't help but being worried and wonder what is going on with this team, because we need to decide, are we going to allow this good core of young players to go and express themselves and try to win, or are we set for another year like we had in Tampa? This is answers that I want to receive, and we should have by the end of the week. So what do you guys make of free agency so far? What do you make of Kyle's trade? What do you make of Gary Trent signing? What do you make of the Raptors missing out on all of these great free agents? I want to hear all of your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below, because that wraps up for me for today. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you are still here, be sure to hit that like button if you did enjoy the video. Really goes a long way to helping the channel with that YouTube algorithm. Also a showcase to me that you made it to the end of the video. Check out our Twitch. We do a ton of NBA content on the Twitch channel every single Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. We start off the streams with an hour to 2 hours of just Q&A about the NBA, free agency, whatnot. We just talk basketball. We get the chat involved a lot, so make sure you're there for that with the link in the description. Subscribe to the YouTube channel on our road to now 6,000 subscribers. We just hit 5,000. Again, thank you guys. I appreciate it so much. Words do not express my gratitude. I do not have enough time to get into all of it, but I really do appreciate it. Some other videos by the channel you may enjoy. And always remember, at the end of the day, believe what I say. And if you disagree, that is okay. Enjoy the grind. I'll see you again next time for another video.